The IRS portal for the new advance payment of the child tax credit is live. I had my doubts that they'd even get this thing out in time, but I did it. It's now live, and I actually went in and filled it out. I'll tell you what my experience was coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. So even though there's millions of people waiting on their tax refunds, the IRS said we are going to get a portal up and running for you to opt out of receiving the advanced monthly payment of your child tax credit. We're going to get it out by the end of June. I had my doubts. Why? Because it's the IRS. It's the government. So I didn't think they'd be able to do it. They did. They got it up and running. The link is below in the description. I'm going to show you some screenshots here. But then I was like, hey, listen, I'm going to do this. I'm going to actually sign up, or I'm going to enroll, or whatever. I'm going to get into the system, and I'm going to opt out of the monthly payment. And okay, guys, I got to tell you, it was actually a frustrating process, and it was a frightening process as well. I'll explain coming up. So first, what is this all about? Okay, so the child tax credit, way back when, was a $1,000 tax credit that you got on your federal tax return if you had a child under the age of 17, and if your income was below a certain amount. Well, then the Trump tax laws came into play, and instead of a $1,000 tax credit, it became a $2,000 tax credit. You still needed to be under the age of 17, but your income threshold got to be a lot higher. You could have adjusted gross income up to $400,000 and still receive this child tax credit for those youthful kids. So as part of stimulating the economy and all these sorts of things, now the child tax credit for this year only has been expanded. It's been enhanced. And with the families plan, they're going to vote on trying to make this more permanent. But as of right now, it's just for this year. So they changed it from $2,000 child tax credit to a $3,600 tax credit if your income's below certain thresholds and you have a child younger than age 6, okay? So for any kids younger than age 6, it's now $3,600 as long as your income for a married couple filing jointly is below $150,000, individual below $75,000. If your income's above that, it starts your credit starts being reduced. If your income's so much further above that, then it drops. It will be reduced all the way to $2,000, back to the old levels, and then it will stay at $2,000 until your income exceeds those previous thresholds, the 400 some thousand or 200 and some thousand if you're individual. So that's if you've got kids, for those kids under age 6. Then if you have still a child age 6 to 17, now they're including kids 17, your child tax credit is still higher than the $2,000. It's now $3,000. But there again, those same income thresholds apply. If your adjusted gross income is 150 or below, you're fine for a married couple. But if it's above that, that $3,000 starts being reduced. And it will be reduced all the way to $2,000, and then it will stay there until your income exceeds $400,000. And so that's the expanded tax credit. But that's not all. They then said, we want to try and get this money in people's pockets earlier than just when they file their tax return. We want to send it to you on a monthly basis. And there were two reasons they said this. And one was we want to stimulate the economy. So if you don't have to wait on this tax credit and it's in your pocket, you'll spend it quicker. Okay, well, I sort of get that. I get that during a recession. Right now, we are in an absolute boom, possibly bust, possibly melt up sort of situation. So to rush this money out to people, that's a little confusing. And then the second one is, and this was the angle they took most, is this will lift, millions of people out of poverty. I'm all for lifting people out of poverty. I do wonder how 6 months of advanced payments actually does that. And 6 months of advanced payments when you are going to just get the thing, 6 months later. To me, I don't understand that reasoning and justification. Again, I'm not trying to hold people underwater. I want to bless them, want to help them get out of poverty or be financially stable. That's what this entire channel is all about. I just wonder about the government's means of doing that here. And so many people, when they heard this, said, I don't want this. I don't want this money on a monthly basis, because if I get it on a monthly basis, now what I'm withholding for my taxes is going to be off. And I might get this money on a monthly basis and then have a surprise and when I file my taxes. Additionally, they're paying this money to you on a monthly basis based on last year's return, your previous return. But what if your income goes up? So what if last year your income was below the threshold, so you're going to start getting the full amount, but this year your income's above those thresholds, and you shouldn't get the full amount. Then when you file your taxes, you got to pay some of it back. To me, guys, this is a messy, disastrous situation, in my opinion. And so many people have said, I do not want this monthly payment. I'll overlook it or whatever, and it will just create some challenges and surprises. So the IRS said, no problem. We got you. We will come out with an online portal. You'll be able to log in. You'll be able to say, nope, I don't want this monthly payment. Also, you'll be able to update your income. Also, you'll be able to say, I just had a child this year. So make sure you're counting that as well. And they said, we'll get this portal out by the end of June because the first payment starts July 15th. The portal is out. Here it is. This is what it looks like. The link I said is below in the description, so check that out there. But this is what it looks like, and I saw some murmurings among our CFPs and our team at Corhorn Financial Group saying, "Wow, this is quite the process." And so I made time. I clicked. I'd like to opt out. I'd like to unenroll from this, and just to see what it was like, guys. It was frustrating and frightening. Okay. Let me tell you what the experience was. Number one, I go to the link and I click on, I'd like to unenroll from the advance payment, and it takes me to a screen where I can log in with some My ID thing, or I can enroll in the My ID. And so I hadn't done this before, so I enrolled in the My ID. And it said, okay, enter your email. Great, that's easy. Okay, create a password. And the password didn't even need to be that difficult. So I thought, okay, well, this is interesting. So I put in the password. Then it wants me to verify my identity, and it wants me to upload a copy of my ID. And even though that makes me feel a little weird putting that online, I'm thinking, well, this is the government. They're the ones that issue the ID, the driver's license, the passport. So I guess I'll do that. And so I clicked a link on my computer. It automatically sent an email to me on my phone. So I opened it up, and it was an app or something that I could then take a picture of my ID. It was a little bit of a process, but it worked. Then it needed to do facial recognition on me. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. And that's where I started getting even more concerned. The app or the system needed to do facial recognition. Guys, I thought it was then going to ask for a retina scan, or like a vial of blood or a urine test or something. Like, this made me a little nervous. But I thought, well, I don't want this monthly payment, and I also want to go through this experience so I can explain it to you. And so I did it. And it wasn't like the Apple iPhone face recognition unlock sort of thing. It was different. It was more elaborate. And I honestly, I felt like I was in a movie. And so I let it do that. It then said, well, now you've got to set up a multi-factor authentication, that sort of stuff. And I thought, well, why would I need to do that if you now scan my face? And it just makes me nervous that now wherever I go, any camera could recognize who I am. I already know Facebook does that. Gosh, it just feels a little bit of infringement here on personal rights. But I set up the multi-factor and I was in. Okay, so it only took creating a password, scanning an ID, scanning my face. Okay, now that's on file with the IRS forever. Okay, and then setting up multi-factor, so getting an additional code every time I want to log in. So then I'm in, and that wasn't the last difficult part. The final difficult part was, okay, I want to opt out. I want to unenroll from this monthly payment. And it said, if you unenroll, you can never re-enroll. And so I think a lot of people are going to be hesitant at that point, because if they do make this thing permanent, And if the IRS continues to have delayed refunds, I mean, to me, I'd rather get the money monthly if it's going to show up as a refund and you're not going to give me my refund for months. It said once you unenroll from the advanced monthly payments, you can never re-enroll. And guys, I said, fine, okay, I clicked it. So I'm out. I'm out of the system. I'm out. I'm completely in the system. They've got me now. They've got my identity. They've got my facial scan, but I'm out of the monthly payments. Do you feel comfortable with that process? I did not. I do not. But I also don't want the monthly payment. I think it's going to be a huge mess for the IRS to handle. I hope I'm wrong. And now, hopefully you listen to this before you go through those steps as well, because I can almost assure you you're going to, I don't know where your own comfort level is with having your personal stuff online, but this surpassed my comfort level. And then you got to then say, well, it's the government, so I guess it's okay. But no, it's the government, so I guess it's not okay. And so I'm out there. And if you're comfortable going through that as well, or are willing to go through that as well to opt out of the monthly payments, that is your process. So work with your CFP. I mean, again, if your rights feel a little violated, like mine do right now, then maybe you want to talk through it with your CFP and say, should I opt out? Really, is it that big a deal, or should I just receive these monthly payments? Talk to your CFP about that, and then talk to your CPA and your tax preparer as well, because this requires tax planning. If you're going to get the money in advance, you've got to make sure you're withholding properly and that you don't have a tax surprise coming to you. And if you're getting it in advance, you got to know that, am I really eligible for all of this, or am I going to have to pay some of it back? So work with your CFP on that and your CPA as well. If you have any questions or if you have any needs for us, reach out to us. You can find us online, Korhorn.com, Korhorn with a K. At wisemoneyshow.com, you can find us there too, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.